Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to dive into the pros and cons of Sebastian. Now, before we get into the video and talk about the cons, because that is where I'm going to start, most people click on negative news, which I just want to start off that these cons could be a positive for someone else. And some of these cons are actually a big positive for me and my family. But I did do some asking around just to get a good idea of, what would you want people to know when you're moving to Sebastian? And that's kind of how I arranged this list. So I got some outside information, as well as I grew up in the Sebastian area from third grade all the way to high school before I left for the military. So you'll kind of get two perspectives on things, and I'll just be completely honest about some of the things that I like and I don't like, which I'll mention later on in the video. We are going to talk about the pros at the end, some things that you might not know that could be a pro for you. So just stick around. But if you're new to the channel, I'm Alex Artiega. I'm a real estate agent that covers the whole Treasure Coast. So if you're looking to move to Florida, please feel free to reach out. I'll let my information roll on the screen. And if you have any questions or you want help relocating, please feel free to reach out days, nights, weekends. But let's just jump into the list. Starting off, this is the Sebastian area. As you can see, you're probably 15 to 20 minutes away from Vero Beach, maybe 30 to 35 minutes away from Melbourne, a short drive to 95, just to kind of give you a good idea of the location. You've probably visited or heard about this small town, but before we go into the cons, I know I said we were going to jump into it. We're going to start off with a neutral comment. Neither good nor bad, but the median age is 56. So again, depending on who you are, that's just something to kind of keep in mind, that the average age is 56. Now, there are plenty of young families. There are retirement, oriented families as well. So you have a really good mix, which is something that I like. It could be a pro, but good nor bad. So now jumping into the cons for real, it is a small town. And again, I got this list from asking around, and that was a common one that I seen was it's a small town. Everyone kind of knows everyone, which I personally think it's a pro, but it's a con for a lot of other people, especially if you've kind of grown up in the area. If you haven't left Sebastian, or maybe you just want Sebastian to be small, so you're saying it's a con, that's just something that is on a lot of other people's list, is that it's a small town. You go around from different places and you'll be seeing the similar or same faces that you kind of run into, especially if you're in the same profession like real estate. You run into the same majority of people, especially once you start getting involved in different Facebook groups or just different communities, whether you like pickleball, golf, all of that stuff. You tend to start seeing some of the same faces, which is good. For example, I go to the gym in Sebastian, and no matter what time I go in Sebastian, I feel like I know someone there. And then when I go to Vero, because I live in Vero currently, I'll see the same faces or similar faces from Sebastian to Vero. So you're constantly running into the same people. It's neither a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like it kind of does build that sense of community, which is going to be a pro. So just a heads up on that aspect. Next on our list is going to be the lack of large big box or large retail stores. And that personally could be a con, especially if you're maybe a little bit older or maybe a little bit younger and you like to go to the mall or the outlets, any of that kind of shopping, whether it's your Marshalls, your TJ Maxx, Home Goods. They do have Walmart, Home Depot, that kind of stuff. But remember, I did grow up in the area, so we were kind of taken back when we got like a Tractor Supply right off of the highway, which again, if you want to fill your propane there, it's more affordable, and you could just kind of go and they'll fill it there instantly, and you'll actually get more propane. Just a fun fact. But large retail stores are a con. There's no mall. You're going to drive to Vero. The Vero Mall is not really, anything to write home about. You're driving to Melbourne, you're driving to West Palm to do all of your shopping, but it does make it a little bit convenient for local or small businesses, because you get more traffic, especially if you are a smaller local business. That's a pro for you, or if you're looking to start up your own local business here. People love to support local. There's different farmers markets, there's different festivals that you could go and set up like a little booth at Riverview Park and kind of grow your brand, your business, all of that stuff out there. And again, it's a small, tight-knit community, so you'll start to see the same faces, and people definitely like to promote small businesses, which is a pro. But a con, no big box retail stores. You'll have your Walmart, Home Depot, Bell's is going to be probably your only like clothing center, and that's all going to be right around this area right here. So you'll have your Walmart and all that section right here, and then your Home Depot and all of your shopping. If you want to go to Lowe's, you're gonna have to drive to Vero. Sebastian does not have a Lowe's, and then your Publix, your Winn-Dixie is going to be right off of this corner. So when I say you're shopping, I'm not talking about your grocery stores. The furthest you're going to have to drive, let's say you want to go to Walmart and you live down here in the Sebastian Highlands area, you're looking probably at around 15-20 minutes at the max. So you're not tight on shopping in grocery stores. It's just larger big box stores. Next on our cons list is going to be the nightlife. And with that being said, I'm not saying there's nothing to do in the evenings. I'm just saying if you're looking for, to stay out till 3, 4 in the morning, like, maybe some of the younger crowd, you're definitely not doing that in Sebastian. And the people that move to Sebastian are really trying to avoid all that together anyways. But it's a con if you do want that, kind of crazy nightlife. You're looking to go to either Orlando, West Palm, Miami, which is a short drive. If you jump on 95, you're looking at around 2 hours, and you could find a nice hotel or Airbnb, any of those things. But the nightlife here's nothing crazy. When I was coming back home from the military and visiting some of my friends, you go out along the river, and again, you'll see locals there, and it's nothing crazy. They are open, later, but it's nothing like 3, 4 a.m. like I mentioned. And if you want to try some different bars in Vero or different restaurants, you're taking a short drive, 20 minutes up US 1, or you could take 95 and get to Vero just as quick. So roughly 20-25 minutes, depending on traffic at the time and the construction, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So the nightlife is nothing crazy. Another con on the list, and one that I saw on a couple of other people's list, is going to be the employment. So if you're moving here to retire, then you really have nothing to worry about. That it's, you're moving here to retire, so you're not looking for a job. But if you are moving here and you want to get into a career or profession, unless you're a doctor, teacher, nurse, some of those jobs or occupations, then you'll be fine and finding work in the area. So that's not the issue. It's more of, the entry level, or, the trying to start your career. So you have a lot of college students that kind of move out and, go to major cities just to look for bigger and better job opportunities. Now, with that said, I am seeing more of a surge for trade jobs just because the area is growing tremendously. From my perspective, it's growing tremendously. Some people will still say, "Oh, wow, it's so small and laid back." But your AC, your plumbers, your construction, all of those jobs tend to need more people, especially with the area. A lot of the area is a little bit older, and what I'm seeing is, they need tradesmen to go and, start their apprenticeships. So with that being said, doctors, nurses, teachers, police officers, firefighters, government workers, those are all, kind of high occupation jobs in this area, as well as sales, retail, and service. So the bars, the restaurants, they're always in need of servers. But that's going to be, of course, this whole area, and then up and down Sebastian Boulevard, you'll have more restaurants and shops along there. But your hospitals all going to be right here. They have cancer centers, and then when you go further down, you'll have more and more hospitals and nurses and different private doctors' offices in that area along US 1. Last con on this list, and then we're going to get into all the positives of living in Sebastian, which is going to be kind of one you've already known if you're moving to Florida, is hurricane season and the hot and humid summers. The summers are brutal. You'll walk out, the rain will be on the ground because it rains every 10 minutes, and it could be on and off. It just depends on that summer day. We don't go a day without seeing the sun, but that comes with the bad of the humidity. It is hot, humid summers. Now, if you are looking to move here and this is going to be your temporary residence, then you really have no, worry about it. It's just a more of a, you're a snowbird, so you're coming not during peak season or peak heat, I should say. But that is a con people want to know about, especially if you're not used to humid, hot summers. That's definitely something you should know. Hurricanes, just to ease your mind, Florida is known for hurricanes, but you do get plenty of time to prepare, and a lot of people, take the precautions during, the off hurricane season months. So you kind of have a good idea of what to expect. You're already stocked up on your water. Don't wait till last minute, because I feel the media kind of makes it more of a frenzy than it actually is. You'll see some Floridians still not putting up shutters, even when it could be, a category 2, category 3. They'll just not really worry about it as much. But that's just a trend you'll kind of see. The longer you become a Floridian, you'll realize some tropical storms seem worse than hurricanes. And with that being said, you also have this Kennedy Space Center, which is probably an hour 25, an hour 30 north. And they put the Kennedy Space Center there for a reason, because there's less likelihood of a hurricane hitting. So if that eases your mind at all, Sebastian's right along that coast, and that's kind of one thing I like to mention. So now we're done with all of the negative talk, but I guarantee you probably found some pros in those negatives that I see as well. But again, I was just getting some outside information to kind of help make this list and give you different perspectives. Moving on to the pros, we want to talk about the first thing, which is going to be big for me and big for a lot of other people, that is super family friendly, family oriented, and retirement oriented. So if you're looking here for either one of those two things and you want that small town, tight knit community, you're definitely going to get that in Sebastian, which is something I was looking for, especially with, bringing up a family. I'm expecting another and have a young son. I like when I drive around and I'm seeing kids still fishing. I'm seeing kids still outside, going to the parks, playing basketball, football, going to the beach. It feels a little bit more wholesome. Now, there are kids that, of course, kids will always find a way to get in some type of trouble. So that's just one of the things, but it's super family oriented. It's retirement friendly, and Florida is known to be, retirement central. But that shouldn't deter you if you are a family. It's still very family oriented. There's plenty of other different activities you could do. There's splash pads for the kids. There's plenty of parks. There's different festivals or festivities going on in Sebastian. Everywhere in Sebastian's family friendly. You could go to, different type of bar or outdoor areas. If you want to grab a drink, they'll let your kids in. I'm not saying you're like clubbing or anything like that, but it's super relaxed. It's like going to, like Vero Beach. They have different breweries you could go to, and you could bring your kid, and it's nothing crazy. Everyone is all welcoming of kids and retirement oriented people. So next on our pros list, before we talk about the crime stats, which that's a major question I get asked a lot, is how is the crime in Sebastian? I did mention it in my Sebastian tour kind of vlog style video, so I'll link it here, and I will link it at the end of the video so you get a full kind of picture of Sebastian. But what I want to talk about now is the local restaurants, or the local culinary scene, I guess you could say. There's plenty of different and a wide range of restaurants that you could go to. It used to be completely different from when I was growing up. There was, of course, fast food and different local restaurants. But now I'm seeing a wide range of different type of cuisines being offered, from Jamaican to Thai to, of course, it's Florida, so you're going to get seafood and fish, to chicken, Asian, a whole range of restaurants, which you could probably see from here. I was actually looking up Miso Ramen. It's a new place that just kind of opened up, and that place is pretty delicious as well. You have plenty of restaurants along the river right here, and if you want my honest opinion on some of those restaurants, I know I've given them to a couple people that have asked me where to go in Sebastian. If we're here for a day and night, we want to grab a drink and maybe some food, hit some restaurants along the river. You've probably heard of Captain Hiram's Tiki Bar, Mobe Grill. The Miso Ramen is definitely good, and there's even some different food trucks that stop in Sebastian. Now, that's one thing that Sebastian doesn't want too much of, is the food trucks. So they're more worried about having like a fixed location, but there's plenty of different cuisine, and there's some pretty good Mexican food as well. And that's a pro, but depending on where you're coming from. For example, my wife loves barbecue. She's from Texas, and we used to go and get Texas barbecue all the time. We're still looking for a great barbecue place, as well as breakfast tacos. In Texas, breakfast tacos were a big thing. So you could wake up in the morning, grab some potato and egg, chorizo and egg, and even get some barbecue, some brisket and egg tacos, which that's something I think if you're looking to move here and start a breakfast taco place, definitely let me know. But that's something that you would kind of be missing. So just kind of depends on where you're coming from. I know Sebastian, I've seen it grow into a bigger kind of range of different cuisines, unlike what it used to be when I was really little. Now the crime stats, and I mentioned this in my other video, so I'll be real quick just to touch on it. It's 66% safer than most of America, especially if you're coming from high crime areas. Sebastian still has that small town, small community feel, and everyone knows everyone. My neighbors, God bless them, because they are always looking out. If they see certain people driving in the street, and now I live in Vero, but it's the same thing in Sebastian. Your neighbors will look out for you. They'll make sure everything's good. If you're going out of town or anything like that and you want your close neighbor to kind of look after the property, they'll definitely do that. I know some people don't like to mention when they're going out of town, but this is a snowbird kind of season, so you have people looking out for other people, which I always think it's good, especially when you're raising a family. And even if you're retired, only here 6 to 7 months out of the year, that's just something to have. That's definitely a major pro. And with those statistics being said, with the 66%, I did get that from a database, so I have to be careful with steering. I know I've mentioned that in a lot of my videos, but I have to be very careful about saying, don't move here because of this. Just know you'll take a drive around the neighborhood and you'll get a feel for the type of neighborhood you're living in and the type of neighbors that you're kind of working with. So neighbors are always huge when you're moving to a location, especially in real estate. Another pro, if you've happened to somehow land on Sebastian, maybe you were driving along the coast and you stopped in Sebastian, you probably have fell in love with its like scenic beauty, its environment. Everyone here loves the Indian River Lagoon. They want to do their best to protect it as much as possible. So pick up your trash, don't litter, all of that good stuff. It's a clean town. It's a boaterman's paradise. People love to fish here. And that's just a huge part of living in Sebastian. Of course, you have the water and the Indian River all right here. And then you have the beach over there. So you have the Sebastian Inlet, which is another great spot. It has a shallow area for your kids if you're looking to move here and you want a place to go at the beach that's you're not worried about the rip current or anything like that. Go to the Sebastian Inlet State Park, go fishing on the pier, enjoy the Indian River, enjoy boating, fishing, kayaking. When I was young, we actually would, there's little islands out here that you could paddleboard to or canoe. We would camp out there and just make sure you clean up the island as well. There's boat cleanup days if you want to get involved, but just those are all major things with living in Sebastian. It's beautiful. The environment's awesome. You're close to pristine beaches that are very family friendly. Next on our pros list is going to be the cost of living, or the affordability, I should say. Now, I got these statistics all online, so I'll throw everything up from census data, the US Census, all of that stuff. But Florida and Sebastian in particular ranked 203 out of 459 as far as the cheapest places to live in Florida. So Sebastian's 203 out of 459. That's a great kind of benchmark for what you're looking for affordability goes. If you go further down to Miami and of course Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Orlando, all of those areas are going to be more expensive, and that could have some correlation with the job opportunities. So just kind of keep in mind that. But if you're looking to retire, it's definitely affordable. Now I know the prices of everything is going up, so how long that lasts really depends on our government and just how things kind of play out over the next couple of years. We're definitely seeing some inflation happen, but on average, housing is actually 15% less in Sebastian than compared to the whole nation. So it's 15% less than the nation's average, while utilities, I will mention, are 10% higher. And that's something, if you've watched or followed along any of my videos, subscribe to the channel because I'll cover the whole Treasure Coast. But that's something I mention a lot, especially if you're looking to move here and you've shopped around for your electricity bill before. You're not going to do that here. The whole Southeast is controlled by FPL, and they say it, you pay it. I don't know what your stance is on solar, but just know that FPL is the only service provider for the whole area. And good luck talking to someone on the phone. Everything is so automated and you will be on hold for a while. So they have different programs kind of set up in place if you want to pay your bills, because it is going to be higher during the summer when you're running the AC. You won't have to run your heat, so you won't have to really worry about that. We don't even touch our heat at all just because it gets so expensive with FPL. But just know that's honestly, it should have been on my cons list because I talk about it pretty frequently. So that's as far as the affordability goes. That's just another thing. And support local. You could go to different fish shops and you could get whole cows and stuff, because it is still kind of that small town feel, so you could probably get more bang for your buck and higher quality meat down here, especially when you're looking at some of the issues that happen with Walmart or some of the other bigger chains when they go through the meat process and the eggs and all that other stuff. And just another fun fact, if you've stuck around this long and you want to start a small business, we were going over some statistics that the city council and everyone was going over at our real estate office. And most of the people that live in the Sebastian Indian River area actually don't end up spending their money in Sebastian. So if you're looking to start a small business, then that's definitely something to take advantage of. There's a lot of money being spent elsewhere. Now that could be because of online shopping and all of that other stuff that kind of comes into play, but it's just a plus and a pro if you're looking to move to Sebastian. I hope you found this information to be useful. I will do a deep dive every year of my pros and cons list, and I'm going to be touching on a lot of communities in Sebastian because it is growing and I want you to have the best information possible. So subscribe to the channel if you want to know more about the whole Treasure Coast, and if you're looking to relocate, please feel free to reach out. I'll let my information roll on the screen. And if you want to know more information and a vlog style tour, so you want to look inside a Tiki, Captain Hiram's, and all of those other places, as well as get a feel for the neighborhood, then click on this video right here and you will get that. But I will see you guys in the next video.